بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عن سهل بن سعد رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من يضمن لي ما بين لحييه وما بين رجليه أضمن له الجنة رواه البخاري. Sayyidina Sahl ibn Sa'd radiallahu anh narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever gives me a guarantee regarding his tongue and private parts, I will guarantee Jannah for him. Commentary. The central role of these organs in our lives can be understood by recalling that according to the mashayikh, the task of self-reform and islah revolves around bringing three basic faculties under control: anger, desires, and intelligence. These two organs, meaning the tongue and the private part, are directly linked with these faculties. The first is primarily used through anger, the second through lust. These are the primary drivers of sin in most people's lives. However, the perils of a careless tongue are many: lying, spreading misguidance, backbiting, gossip, inciting others to wrong actions, expressing pride and jealousy, and many, many more. The guarantee will be to not engage in any illicit or improper use of these organs and bring them under total control, thereby achieving that purity of our souls that is needed for entry into Jannah. It should be kept in mind that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was addressing the mu'minun, so the condition that you must uphold the pillars of Islam was understood. For every hadith that guarantees Jannah for some actions, this basic condition should always be remembered. So we continue with the chapter of akhlaq and character, and within that the chapter of guarding one's tongue. So we read the lengthy hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu, then we read the hadith of Sayyidina Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu about every single morning when a person wakes up, all of the a'dha and the limbs, they plead and they request the tongue that stay straight and behave, because if you are good, we are good. If you go astray, we will also go astray. So now we move on to the third hadith of Sayyidina Sahl ibn Sa'd radiyallahu anhu. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is saying, if you promise me two things, I will promise you Jannah. If you give me the guarantee of two things, I will give you the guarantee of Jannah. Meaning it will be my responsibility to make sure that you enter Jannah. If you can make sure of these two things, then I will make sure on the day of Qiyamah you will enter Jannah. I will plead with Allah, I will speak to Allah, I will do your shafa'ah and intercession, and I will make sure that you enter Jannah. Okay? But it's not that simple, right? There are two things. What are these two things? So Rasulullah says, whoever gives me the guarantee of whatever is between his jaws. So what do we have in between the jaws? We have the tongue. So you give me the guarantee that you will use this tongue which Allah has given you in the best way possible, in only those ways that are pleasing to Allah, in which Allah has allowed you to use the tongue. Number one. And number two, وَمَا بَيْنَ رِجْلَيْهِ, in between the two legs, meaning the private part. So you give me guarantee of these two organs that you will use them properly and in the correct way, and I will guarantee you Jannah. Okay? So this is why it is so difficult. See, Jannah is not something that we just get, just like that. We mentioned the hadith many times. أَلَا إِنَّ سِلْعَةَ اللَّهِ غَالِيَةٌ أَلَا إِنَّ سِلْعَةَ اللَّهِ الْجَنَّةِ, that the merchandise which Allah is selling is very expensive. It's not the Rolex and the Mercedes and the BMWs of this dunya. We think that is very expensive. The real expensive merchandise is the Jannah and the paradise that Allah has created. Right? And that is the Jannah. So it will come with the sacrifice and it will come with a high price. And so one of the ways is over here is to control the tongue and to control the private parts. And then the author explained, right, that this tongue which Allah has given us, it can lead to so many wrongs. So for example, he gave us some examples over here: lying, deceiving, misguiding, backbiting, gossip, showing pride and jealousy, and you can just count them on and on and on. All of these things are the evils of this tongue. Right? So this tongue Allah has given it to us. We can use it in the beautiful things as well. Reciting the Quran, doing the dhikr of Allah, da'wah ila Allah, all the ahadith that we are reading and listening to over here, right? So all of these good things. But the same tongue can also be used for so many evil things as well. So try and control that and use it in the proper way. And then of course the private part as well, to avoid and abstain from zina and fornication and anything and in any way that Allah has prohibited us from using that. So these are the guarantee and the promise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ability to control these two very sensitive and very important organs of our body. May Allah grant us the ability to control them and to use them in the way that is befitting and that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in return, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all Jannah and paradise. May Allah forgive us, may Allah be pleased with us. Amin ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah.